Yes, everybody, welcome back to the Irish Hotspur. Jack and Dave here to give our reactions to the Twitter sphere. They've given their thoughts after what was a frustrating, disappointing, kind of annoying 1-1 draw with Fulham today at home. Plenty of different thoughts out there. Sadly, couldn't find as much good dark humor as usually I do to help ourselves kind of cope in some sort of manner after what was, like I said, a frustrating draw. But we'll take a look at it, see what you guys have to say. It's an opportunity for Dave and I to shut up. We'll give our reactions to what you have to say. We'll give a little forewarning to Dave. There is a bit of a, toxic divide, over plenty of certain players and managers, that type of thing. So do be prepared. But please, everybody, smash that like button for us. We're recording this after the game. Thank you to all the people who sent in their fan cams. If you want to support the channel, consider becoming a member and you can get your thoughts in after the game. Without further ado, let's get into this. Craig saying, Jet Spence, will we ever see him again? Both fullbacks were poor, yet he still doesn't even get a chance. Dave, yeah, Jet Spence is gonna be one of the major talking points, one of the more obvious substitutions in plenty of people's eyes.
Yeah, I'm starting to really feel sorry for the kid. I think he's got a raw deal at Tottenham. I think it's actually turning into a nightmare for him, to be quite frank. Interesting enough, though, Johnny did say in his fan cam, Jack, that Jed Spence was ready to come on and then he was told to sit back down. So I wonder maybe what the thinking behind that was. But look, he should have been brought on for Porro. It's clear Porro was still carrying the effects from that injury where his leg collapsed beneath him, or he just was absolutely knackered and there was a prime opportunity to get Jed Spence on there and he didn't do it.
No. And then Poseidon saying, "Please, someone explain to me why Lukic doesn't see a second yellow there. Absolutely scandalous." So I do apologize to Dark Sun G because he was making a big kind of case of that, and I just must not have realized that Lukic was already on a yellow card. Because Dave, do you remember that moment when Sonny was absolutely just taken out by a player, and the referee played on for advantage, but then he never went back to give the guy a yellow card? Turns out Lukic was actually already on a yellow card or something like that, according to Spurs fans. Could be right or wrong, but if he already was on a yellow card there and he played advantage only to then never even give him a second yellow, that is absolutely ridiculous. But I really hope that's not the case because that would be scandalous. I'm not kidding. It would be scandalous.
No, look, it's an absolute joke of a decision. It probably changes the game. Along with Kearney sending off, you take them down to 9 men. You'd like to think we'd probably go on and win that game. Not excusing the performance whatsoever by it, but these are decisions that do matter in the game. And then there was another one, Jack, where we were on the breakaway. He called it back, gave them a yellow card, and we were in behind the back line. So it's just talking about. I just thought the referee was poor on the day in general.
Yeah, same here. Tam saying lost a lot of our press with Kulu out of the team, looking fairly disjointed. I would agree. I think we were missing some vital players in that press. Solanke, Kulusevski, they offer so much in that department. Matters prop saying Fraser 7, Poro 5, Dragishin 7, Davies 7, Udogi 6, Sar 7, Basuma 6, Madison 7, Brennan 5, Sonny 4, Werner 5. I actually agree with a lot of these player ratings from the person here, Matters Prop, but maybe a cheeky little plug. We will be doing a Tottenham hangover, includes player ratings, a little bit of a breakdown of how we thought each player did on the day, and also we'll be taking a look at some screenshots of just what went wrong, what was frustrating about the performance in general, how we can improve. So if that sounds interesting to you, look out for a promotion for the Big Up platform. We'll be doing that tomorrow at some point, so please take a look out for that in the community section as well as on Twitter. Stefan McGrath saying Lukic absolutely cleans out Son, doesn't even get a second yellow, then gets subbed off, and his replacement comes on to equalize. Just the world of Spurs and referees, it feels like. Josh Hughes, Dave, saying you can sack Ange, but it will never work under any manager if they're not properly backed. We were 3+ players short at the close of the window, and yet, as we are with every summer, take away our strongest 11. It's clear for all to see. Um, the squad isn't deep or strong enough. The board has to do something they've never done before. We can keep repeating the same mistakes over and over again, and it comes from the top. I think that's what you've said in some sort of sense or shell, Dave, is the fact that, we've kind of been down this path so many times. Manager gets left a little bit short in the summer window, ends up kind of paying the price for it with injuries or just at a certain really tough period of the season. Manager eventually gets the sack, and we sort of repeat the process all over again. And now's the time for us to try to break that cycle.
And look, quite frank, it's boring whether you've liked any of these managers or not. Jose Conte, Postacoglu, they're all winners. At the end of the day, Jack, I think everyone at Tottenham Hotspur plays the blame game, and that's why we don't win anything. You've got the chairman looking to blame everybody else when he doesn't give them what they need. You've got the fans looking to blame the manager every single time. The players are looking to blame everybody else but themselves. In reality, what we need is everybody to come on the same page and say, how can we win? It's not hard. It really isn't.
No. Kieran Kai saying Son was horrible today. I have no idea how he got a full 90 minutes. He should have had 2 goals as well in the first half. I'd agree with that. He had 2 of the best chances, the easiest
Yeah.
chances. And you look at Roma too. He could have been the decisive factor in those games had he scored those. Luca THFC saying scored the most goals in the league and conceded the third fewest. We're somehow seventh. I mean, this is what Dave and I are having to deal with on a daily basis, trying to explain this Tottenham Hotspur team. So many stats that would back, the process, which show that we are a good team, that we are, headed in the right direction. But at the same time, you just look at the results, and that doesn't necessarily reflect sometimes the some of these really great
Yeah.
stats.
Because we keep shooting ourselves in the foot, Jack, you know?
Yeah.
Like everyone keeps saying, is there a real desire in Tottenham Hotspur to win? I know the fans do and the managers we employ do, but everybody else in there that can really do something about it, it doesn't look like there's that real hunger. And on to
No.
Johnny's next point here.
Yeah, well, Johnny H, picking up some great footage here. Please, everybody, do follow him because I do think you get a good insight, with maybe clips and things like that you don't necessarily get from, regular broadcasters you get on the regular TV screen. He also put together, I thought, a great highlight display of some of the chances from our Roma game. And he says, can we please talk about the terrible body language here in this video? We've just conceded a goal. It's still 1-1 with all to play for. Yet look at these Spurs players, no leaders, nobody firing each other up. Their heads are down with the defeatist attitudes, and fans are expecting a winning team.
Sums it up though, doesn't it? You know, this is something that we've all spoke about. And when you actually go look at most of the fans' reaction, a lot of people from the game, a lot of people who watched it from home, they all have the same sort of takeaway. You know, lack of desire, lack of hunger, lack of urgency, lack of application. You know, it's just not good enough. And you know, this is why we keep shooting ourselves in the foot. This is why we're so up and down, Jack.
Yeah. Troll football, Tottenham against big clubs and Tottenham against the small clubs. It's been that way for past couple of weeks, if not this season, Dave. Just feels like, the bigger sides, we end up seeing liquid football, and the teams you expect to beat, somehow we just, I guess, don't even get off the bus, it feels like,
Yeah.
especially after today. Christina, the atmosphere is absolutely horrendous at Spurs. That huge win against Man City away has now been long forgotten. Other clubs come to the stadium and think it's a holiday for them now. That's concerning.
Well, look, Jack, this is becoming a real problem, you know. We had Johnny, we had Sam on the other day who were at the Roma game, sort of came away with the same takeaway. The atmosphere is flat. I've heard the We Are Tottenham TV boys talk about. I've heard a lot of fans that go to the stadium say the atmosphere is flat, and it is something that really needs to be sorted out because your home is supposed to be your fortress. You know, so you got to sort it out and somehow find a way to get that atmosphere generated. Because you look when we went out to Galatasaray, right? As soon as that draw happened, just because of their fans alone and the atmosphere. Everybody said it's going to be a difficult game. That's not going to be easy. You know, it could potentially be really beat up here. And that's before a ball's even kicked. And that's the way we need to get our stadium.
Free jet Spence, Dave.
Might have to retweet that one.
No Solanke and Kulu is benched. I think people spelled trouble from the get-go when they saw this one. I think a lot of us were worried, that this wasn't going to be, an easy performance. Lucas saying you can simply not blame injuries for this mess. The only player we're missing is genuinely Solanke. And then Davies and Jorgensen look more solid than Romero, and Van de Ven has looked all season. He's saying you can't blame it on the injuries. I think you can at least give some relief or at least some sort of, consideration to the injuries, but it shouldn't be the only reason that you got the draw. Like, you have to still look at yourselves in some regard, but I think you're allowed some sort of leeway with injuries, right?
Well, look, at the end of the day, right, no one wants excuses. We're fed up with excuses
True.
for not winning. But at the end of the day, when you suffer injuries, what manager doesn't suffer as a result of it? Jurgen Klopp last season, Pep Guardiola this season. You know, Arsenal there for a period only now that they're starting to win games. They were struggling with their injuries. But when it comes to all them teams, I think all the commentary around them, whether it's from their own fan base or from, the media in general, they all sort of give them not that excuse, but they all highlight how much it's really playing a part and in what's going on at the clubs right now. When it comes to Tottenham, we never really given that fair sort of commentary around it. And when it comes to, look, Davies and Dragic, don't get me wrong, they're absolutely brilliant yet again today. But with Van de Ven and Romero, they do give us a lot more in terms of in possession, in terms of going forward. With Dragic and Davies, they were good in possession. But with Romero and Van de Ven, they have the ability to play that longer ball over the top for players, to be able to dribble out with the ball and stuff like that. We do take a hit in terms of in possession with these two.
Yeah. Paddy Power saying, give Ipswich their only league win of the season. Smash Man City 4-0 at the Etihad. Failed to beat a 10-man Fulham at home. Possibly the most Spursy run of results in the entire history of Spursiness. Maybe just the most confusing version of Tottenham Hotspur we've experienced in a while, Dave.
Yeah, but look, this is why fans are starting to lose their patience with everything going on at Tottenham. And
Can't make sense
look,
of it.
at the end of the day, right now, Ange Postecoglou will be the fall guy. Then it'll go on to the players, and then it'll go on to Daniel Levy. But it doesn't really resolve it. And then look again, look, we know what Paddy Power are. They sort of like to have a bit of a jibe and a bit of a laugh and a bit of fun. But look, I'm absolutely fed up with it, and we just need to start trying to find that consistency and really sort of pushing on, because it's not good enough. At some point, it's got to alleviate. I'm sick of the Spursy nature of Tottenham Hotspur. Got to change it.
Sal Poro says, Mom asked me if the dishes were done. I just replied, son. She smiled. She says she knew they were washed. Do you get the joke?
No. It's gone right over my head. Maybe I'm just not in the mood for a joke.
Jeez, I thought you would laugh at it, but disagree with the point. So basically, they're saying Sonny is washed.
Oh, Sonny is washed.
That's the joke. Yeah.
Look, he's getting older. That's for sure. His influence on games is waning. That's for sure. How much of it is down to the injury and him regaining his match sharpness? I guess a couple more games will probably tell.
And like Dave and I think pointed out in the summer, I think we needed to sign somebody who could basically be at Son's level, if not better, so that we could rely on somebody else instead of continuing to rely on like a 32-year-old. I think it'd be nice to have Sonny around this season as an extra, lethal type player up front. But it feels like once again, we're really relying on him to be a guy that, maybe he was 4 or 5 years ago, or a guy that he was maybe more in his prime, let's say. And now I just don't, he is starting to show those signs of age, but feels unfair on him, to be honest. And we should have signed somebody that could have taken on some of that burden this year in those wide areas. Richie Holmes, Enoch out, saying, why would you take off Madison when the opposition goes a man down? It's the question on many people's heads right now. AK, to be honest, a draw isn't hell. With so many injuries and basically no bench strength, we did well to get a draw. Did we play well to get a draw? No. I think we got lucky to have gotten a draw, but I mean, at the end of the point, we'll take a draw considering how poor we played, I guess. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
Adichie Young, the three players people love to hate, Timo Forster and Ben Davies, have had a great start to the game. A certain someone who could do no wrong is the reason we're still not 2-0 up. But hey, it's okay, right? Told you it'd be toxic, Dave. I told you we're putting ourselves through the pain here, everybody.
It's a fair point, though. It is a fair point.
No, it's not too
far wrong.
Yeah,
but I think you can make the point without having to have a jibe.
Yeah, fair. That's how. So this is why I said, Dave, I had to give you a forewarning. This is what Dave and I try to avoid. After these sort of defeats, or not defeats, results, and we're gonna have to go through it here. Simon Humane saying, I have to say, Madison and Basuma were rested midweek to be able to make a real impact on this game. I expect so much more from them in terms of leadership and consistency. If this team is to progress, experienced players have to live up to their potential. No passengers. I thought Madison was all right at the end of the day. Like, it wasn't his best performance by any means, but I don't think he was a problem. Basuma, I have mixed feelings about. I think he was probably the worst of the midfield between Sarr, Madison, and Basuma. He probably was the worst of the three. But I don't know if we lost that game necessarily because of Basuma, as much as I have mixed feelings about him. So hard for me to... I kind of agree and disagree with what he's saying there. He also writes...
Just quickly, I do think that the main point of it is absolutely correct. Like,
right.
With them being rested midweek, you would expect them to have a lot more input on the game. You'd have to expect, for instance, look how tired he looked towards the end of the game. James Maddison, when he came off, should they be that tired if they were rested midweek for a large period of that game? I'm not quite so sure. And I think what he's asking is, why didn't they have the impact when they were rested to have the impact for this game? And I think he's correct.
That's a fair point. What an odd game, but I told you before the game, I don't know how you take anything from today other than this team being depleted and Ange not having the squad to produce consistent performances and results over a 50 game plus season. Expectations should match reality. Yes and no again for me kind of on this one. Like I think that's a fair point, about the fact that the team and the squad will come with inconsistency and will come with, times when we do look like we're going to struggle to put together consistent results and performances. But that's also like when we've had a full squad and, everyone available, we've shown still signs of
Yeah,
inconsistencies. And
yeah,
so I think it kind of cuts both ways once again for me here
spot
on
on.
Simon. Zeus saying, never been so happy to miss a game. Sounded dreadful. In other news, Vienna is pretty. Dave, another news. Have you ever been to Vienna?
No, I haven't, Jack. I'd love to get to more capital cities across Europe to see what they're like.
Yeah, well, maybe you'll one day get the chance. Vicario is there to support the boys. How I miss this Italian man. Best dressed goalkeeper, Dave.
Huh?
Best dressed
Look,
goalkeeper. Turtleneck. Look
absolute,
at that turtleneck.
absolute swag and fair play to him. But I wonder, is this a part of the problem at Tottenham? And just hear me out. I know people are going to say this is nitpicking,
He's
right?
gone to
I
Graham
know.
Souness mode.
But, you know, is that sort of ego a problem? Look, don't get me wrong. I'd love to be able to dress and pull it off like him. But he hasn't won at it yet, in Roy Keane's words. You know what I mean? It's sort of like we're all flashy and everything else, but we don't have the hard work to
Mhm.
really put in the consistency to win things. And maybe it's a problem,
Probably everyone in the younger generation just shaking their heads, watching
Oh,
this.
100%.
Everyone
I'm
in
going
the
to get
older
pelted.
generation going like, finally, someone says.
I'm going to get pelters in the comments. I fully understand, It probably is an old way of looking at things. But you shouldn't really display stuff like that until you're winning regularly. That's just my opinion.
I thought he looked like Bad Bunny, if anybody knows what I mean, in this outfit. I thought he kind of looked like Bad Bunny. Let me know if people agreed. THFC Bad saying, honestly, the way he's being treated is an effing joke. Kind of
Nightmare.
agree, Jet Spence.
Nightmare.
I think Forrester has been good for us.
Do you know what? He had a good game today, lad. He had a really good game today, pulled off a couple of saves. And we said at half time in the game, if it wasn't for Ben Davies and Fraser Forrester, we'd be talking about, we could be 3-0 down here, 4-0 down.
I love that motion, standing up, against all the against what everybody else is saying. I think Forrester's been good.
Brilliant.
Ryan Sessegnon has played more minutes at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium today, 13 minutes, than he did in the last 18 months. Contracted to Spurs 8.
There's the humor in today's set. That's the humor.
The best one is coming up, Dave, in just a second. Quite loud boos at full time. Talking point for probably our upcoming panel shows, the fact that there were boos. This is the best one, Dave.
What I will say is the more them boos go on, the writing will be on the wall once the
harder it is
to try and get the fans going to the games behind them.
The harder it is to tune it out as an owner. No context Tottenham. Mr. Rogers.
Mad to see him back in the Premier League squad.
I thought you were dead.
Oh, yes, that's that video. Yes, Jack. He starts crying and all, yeah.
We thought Region was dead. Stefan saying, absolutely done with Sonny, legend of the club, but he offers absolute jack. People are upset with Sonny today. I don't blame him. He was awful. I don't blame him, though.
No, look, he was bad.
I still believe in Sonny like I do in Ange, and I just think, there's a lot to answer to after a bad performance like that, but I can't defend him after a performance like today. It was poor.
No, look, it was a really poor performance. And look, rightly so, you got to call it out where you see it. But to be absolutely done with a guy that's given Tottenham that service, it's a bit, it's a bit
cold.
harsh.
It's a bit cold. Harry Scarf, lots of Spurs fans leaving. Don't understand why. Stay until the end and support the team. I'm a little shocked to hear that Spurs fans would have been leaving early. Yes, it was not a fun watch, but to leave early is a bit, I don't know. Again, I don't go to the games. I don't know what your travel departures are. People also got kids at home. I know Dan has pointed that out before to me. You want to try to get home in time so you can at least, pick up the kids or something like that. So I understand how it is, but I am surprised to hear that people were leaving. Spurs official from Carly. I love you, but you are not serious people. I think that's very accurate. Patty saying the sad reality is that I was not even disappointed, angry, upset when Fulham scored because I knew it was just going to happen. That's where I am at this moment with this team. I can't see it change anytime soon.
Look, people are well entitled to their opinions. It's frustrating, Jack. We keep shooting ourselves in the foot. 1-0 up, 1-0 up today. We lose it. 2-0 up at Brighton, we lose it. Beating Roma coming into the closing stages, we lose it. It becomes very frustrating.
Maddie saying Twitter thinks every performance is Ange's worst performance. Was that fun to watch? No. Is the squad thin and riddled with injuries? Yes. This was far from the worst football I've seen, albeit frustrating to watch. Trust and move on. Maddie staying resilient. And Nabil saying, I'm not even mad at Poro for a poor performance. Looked exhausted and has played 3 full 90 minutes in a week. Ange's use of the squad has been really poor so far this season, running players into the ground.
Do you know what? Look, I think there's probably an argument to it, or something's not right. Solanke looked like he tweaked his groin the other day, played on, wasn't in the squad today. Yeah, you could put it down to illness, but I wonder, is there also a groin problem there? Pedro Porro, clearly went down with a bit of pain inside the first half. He continued to play on the rest of the game and didn't look right. Vicario against Man City continued to play on with a fractured ankle. Van de Ven, I think earlier on in the season, was pushed through a problem that he picked up during the game, and then he was out for weeks. There is that problem. But again, it just hasn't been Postecoglou that's relied on certain 11 players. Conte was the same and Jose Mourinho was the same pushing these players because we do not build the squads that they're happy with.
James Moss saying Postecoglou subs at the end there just absolutely bewildering. Completely agree.
Yes.
And B saying Palace and Ipswich still on 1 win each.
No, that hurts. That actually does hurt. And the thing is, you beat the two of them teams, right?
This one wasn't easy.
You beat the two of them teams. You're sitting there inside top 4. You're on 26 points, and it's a different conversation altogether. It's so frustrating.
Flat Bateman saying Tottenham looked leggy and below par. Fulham are, however, excellent side. They deserve to win. Marco Silva is a quality manager. Needs a lot more recognition. Is Flat been hacking into my brain, Dave?
I think so. Look, Fulham deserved the win today.
A year ago.
Yeah, you've been a big fan of Marco Silva for quite some time, to be fair, but I think even before he got to Fulham, actually, to be fair. But look, he's done a really good job there. We were piss poor today, below par. And look, Jack, we keep talking about this. If you're not willing to outwork these teams, the underdogs, when they come into these games, are willing to hunt. They're willing to work. If you're not willing to outwork them, then you get punished. Time and time again, it keeps happening.
He's done an excellent job, too, of very early on in the season, pretty much establishing themselves outside the relegation, sort of hunt. And so that a lot of these games can kind of be free hits for them. They can kind of just see if they can take a scalp on the day. They don't have to be so desperate for points, which I think is a huge plus for them. Isaac Kimes, last but not least, we'll always love you, Sonny, club legend, but the decline is in full flow, and those 2 chances fully expose it. Lots of talking points after this game, Dave. From Ange Postecoglou's subs to the boos to Sonny, it's going to be another tough week of Tottenham Hotspur for us.
No, look, it's going to be a tough week for absolutely everybody. No one likes what's going on, the win-lose sort of nature. Even coming into this game, our last 7 Premier League games, win-lose. It's really frustrating. Of course, we didn't lose. We picked up a point today. Some on the positive side would maybe say, well, it's progression. We're not losing games, and stuff like that. But however, it doesn't really matter. I'm not going to get into, that. I just find it terribly frustrating. But look, when it comes to Son, I'm going to hold off another sort of few weeks, Jack, another few games, and really sort of judge it. Because part of me thinks there could be an element where he's just sort of getting back up to sort of match fitness, match sharpness after the injury. So I'll hold off another couple of weeks. Because fans have gone in on Son too early before. Then he comes out, hits a purple patch, and it's all forgotten about. So I'm going to hold out a few weeks and judge it then.
Well, everybody, if you can for us, smash that like button. We are recording this after the game. And please get into the comments. Let us know. I mean, there weren't a lot of happy, positive tweets, that's for sure. But let us know if there are any of those tweets you did enjoy. And we'll see you next time. Please join us for the Tottenham Hangover session for the Big Up platform that should be on tomorrow, Monday. And also come on the fan show. Consider becoming a fan show member. But we'll see you next time, everybody. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.